Welcome back, boys and girls, to episode 45 of the Nerd Chills podcast. This is Adam Diaz, and with me, as always, is CJ. How you doing, CJ?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm back. My computer had a little bit of a malfunction last week, as I'm sure some of you know. I moved it around, and I went to go plug it in, and when I plugged the power cord into the power supply, I heard one of the loudest pops I've ever heard. Like, it sounded almost like a gunshot, and a spark flew out, and PC no turn on, so...
It's a horrific sound. I've had that happen once before in my life, and hopefully never again.
Yeah, I don't really know how it happened. I mean, wasn't, like, dragging my computer. I was grounded, so I don't really know what happened, but new power supply put in. I'm back now.
Right on, and we're happy to have you back, bro. So, it's the Palindrome episodes, they are cursed. But for episode 45, sitting in the third chair, as per usual, is Charlie. Welcome back, Charlie.
Hello.
Hello. No fourth chair this week, no big deal. We're recording a little bit late. We usually record on Saturdays, but we're recording on Sunday because we had a contest that we will get to, that we will pick a winner for, regarding Nerd Chills going to BlizzCon for 2017. I'm just going to press a button and we'll have sound effects in the background. That's definitely not Charlie making those noises. But just to start the episode as per normal, CJ, what have you been playing lately, bro?
Two things. Call of Duty World War II, which I'll go back, or I guess I'll just explain it now. So I did some math just for fun. The game's been out for 10 days, so 240 hours. If you minus the first 4 days of release that I had to work, and then if I'm being generous here and saying I slept for 8 hours, that leaves 140 hours that I could have been playing, and if I'm rounding up, I played 40 hours of that 140 hours.
Jeez.
That is pretty significant.
That is a lot of time. Then in between playing Call of Duty and driving to the store and just doing random things, I've started playing Phone Destroyer, which is a South Park game on mobile.
I was told no one should play it ever by the marketing, so...
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty fun. I enjoy it. It takes the fun parts of Clash Royale and just gives a South Park spin to it.
Right on. I've been playing a lot of Clash Royale lately. I'm actually above the league that I stopped playing in before, and I'm like 100 trophies from being in the next league.
Progress.
Right? I'm level 5, and I've played a couple people that are level 11, so way fucking higher than me, and their tower's way stronger, and they have all these epic and legendary cards. And it's funny to me because I'm just like, I feel like you paid to get here, and I'm just using a basic deck that's pretty solid. It's just like a witch, a giant, some DPS that can handle the ground, some DPS that can handle the air, and I'm just running over people. It's fucking hilarious. So it's like all these new cards, too, that I've never seen before because I haven't played in like a year and a half. And it's definitely a different experience than the last time I played. So having fun with it, though. Aside from that, for myself, I haven't really been playing much lately. I did get my Xbox One X, and I gotta say, with my Xbox One X, we've been playing Overwatch, and I load so much faster now. It is absolutely incredible. And it's nice because Robin used to load and pick her character, and she'd start in the game, and I'd still be waiting to load on my original Xbox One. And now it's like I load, pick my character, and I just like look over at her and laugh. So it's really nice to finally be the person. Right? She has the Slim, so she's been a lot faster than I have recently. But now it's like, I'm way faster than you. So now I'm going to invest into a 4K TV on Black Friday, and I'm pretty excited to do that. So holding on getting Assassin's Creed Origins until Black Friday because it'll be on sale, and I heard that game looks glorious.
It'll be super cheap.
So, but that's about it for me. I haven't really been playing a whole lot. Charlie, what have you been playing?
Well, I picked up that Phone Destroyer game as well.
Oh, snap.
And I really like it. It's pretty much, I don't know what CJ said about it, but it's pretty much like, to me, it's kind of like a card game, but it's more interesting because it's not just the cards. You like drop the card onto the screen, and then the character shows up and starts wandering around, and it's super
There's definitely
cute
some strategy to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I really like it so far. And then I've been playing Animal Crossing still. Super into Animal Crossing.
Oh,
already up to like level 25.
Is that out officially in the U.S. Or are you still pretending to be Australian?
Good day.
Good day.
I'm still pretending to be Australian.
Good mate day.
Oh, I thought it was out. Damn. Okay.
No.
Now I'm not late to the party. Then we're good.
No, they're still pretending to be from somewhere else. So.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I really like it. And I don't think I played anything on console. Well, no, I played some of Mario Odyssey.
Right on.
Still playing Odyssey. It's really good. I've heard some crazy stories though, like about how many moons there are in that game.
Yeah, I've heard some people say they're up to like 400.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a bit much for me right now.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I can't even imagine. I had a guy tell me, like, he's up to, like, 600 and some odd moons, and he was like, they're getting a little hard to find. I'm getting a little burnt out.
Wow. How could you not get burnt out after the 600th moon?
Yeah, dude. I was like, I don't even understand.
I got burnt out after like 300 Korok seeds. I'm like, fuck this shit. It's like, these guys don't need my help. They're just hiding for fun.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been really heavy into mobile lately, weirdly.
Right on. As far as movies, what you've seen lately, what you've seen this past week, Charlie, we'll start with you and go in reverse order. What have you seen? What have you been watching, I guess? That's what you usually say,
I was
right?
like, movies. I have not watched any movies. I've been watching Bob's Burgers. I'm almost done with it. And then I started watching those Hulu shows that we had talked about a while back, the esports ones.
Okay.
Woohoo.
I really like the player versus player one. That one's like a debate show, and it ends in them playing Street Fighter, which just entertains
That's hilarious.
me. But yeah, I don't know if I'm learning very much from it, but I like it. I like the format.
Right on. Yeah, aside from a little bit of The Good Doctor, which isn't a bad show. It's made by David Shore, the guy who made House, about an autistic doctor who's also a savant. I've seen Thor Ragnarok. I went and saw Thor Ragnarok in theaters. It's a bit late. I know most of you guys have already seen it. I will confirm it is very good. It was really cool. I read a lot about how this guy really believes in like letting the characters be themselves, especially once they're already established. So you follow the script like kind of as the guideline for the movie, but in certain scenes, like when you're shooting and you have two characters that are played by really good actors, he believes in improv. And they said like around 60% of what was shot was basically improv of them just being themselves while being their characters and just having fun. And you can really tell. Like when you watch the movie, you're like, this must have been really, really fun to make because everyone's just hilarious in it. And it's pretty fun to watch too. It's pretty intense and I don't know. It ties back really well as trilogies usually do into the original. And it has a really good ending. And after you see the ending, you're like, wow, I can't wait for Infinity War. So it was basically everything I expected from it. And now I'm hoping that since I expect nothing at all from Justice League, I can see that movie and not be thoroughly disappointed with it. I know the reviews are out, and the reviews are, shocker, they're mixed. And it's basically like, it's a good movie with some flaws. And it's like, I feel like you just described every superhero movie I've ever seen, except for maybe Dark Knight, which I can still complain about. So I'm like, I feel like this one won't be as bad as Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad. So
I'm sure it won't be that bad. I'm sure it won't be like Fantastic Four levels of
that was so
horrible.
bad. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be decent.
Any of the superhero movies made by Fox except for X-Men, basically.
I mean, which of the Marvel movies have you seen that you just like absolutely loved? Like you thought they were the most amazing Marvel movies?
I thought Winter Soldier was probably one of my favorite. I hated Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. I don't understand why people loved Iron Man 3 and thought it was really good.
I don't either.
The original Avengers was amazing. And I actually really did like Age of Ultron. It's not as strong of a movie, but I still really liked it. And the original Iron Man is very good. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'd probably have to say Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy and the original Captain America.
I actually really did not like, as much as everyone else did, I should say, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thought it was okay.
I didn't either.
I was like, it's an okay sequel, but if this was the first one, I think people would have been like, oh, it's not that good of a movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And it just tried to rehash, as most sequels do, the things that came in the first one. And it's just like, it just didn't really work as well for me. And it's just like, it's really heavy-handed with the cheese, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't need that much. Like, you could have some subtext rather than just text.
As weird as it sounds, like it took too much for me. It almost took place on Earth too much. There's so much Earth in it because it was all about like his mom's backstory, and I found that interesting, like her story. But
then it was time to leave.
Yeah, like I don't know, I wasn't that into that part, and then it was very cheesy. There were a lot of cheesy jokes and a lot of lame parts, except Mantis. Mantis saved it.
Mantis was very funny. I didn't like the fact that they didn't really explore the galaxy. Like the first one, they were all over the galaxy, and you got to see all these new things. Then they found the planet and his dad, and then they just kind of hung out there after that. And I was like, this is kind of boring. Yeah. Like everyone kind of saw where it was going and who the bad guy was and what was going to happen. And then you're like, yeah, that's kind of exactly how it went. And then you're waiting for one character to die from the original, which always happens in sequels, and lo and behold, it happened. And it's like, okay, they did that kind of well, so I'm not too upset about that. The character death was cool, and the ending was all right. But at the same time, it's like, excuse me, I really expected them to be, I don't know, traversing the galaxy more rather than just sticking to that one planet.
I thought it was too emotional.
Yeah, it seemed too,
Like,
I don't know.
dad stuff.
Yeah.
And sister stuff. And
I was just like, okay, there's not a whole lot of character development. This is more about character revelation. Mm-hmm. So no one really changed in it. Like in the first one, like they all came together and decided to be together rather than be loners. But yeah, that's our Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review out of nowhere. Yeah. CJ, what have you been watching, bro?
I went and watched Thor as well, which I thought was really good. Kind of exactly what I thought and what I wanted from a third Thor movie, which I just wanted to see, you know, like some Thor kind of getting his butt handed to him because he kind of deserves it. And like I can't remember the part. Hold on.
I thought his interactions with Loki were the strongest part of the movie. I was like, these two guys are great actors and they play off each other really well, and you really want to see that dynamic, like between rival brothers who don't want each other dead but just are constantly fucking fighting.
Yeah, and kind of in my opinion, I think not Hulk exactly, which I understand he was supposed to be like the main part of it, but I think the actual Bruce Banner part kind of stole the show for me. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The part just was put in so well, and if they did do most of it improv, props to them because that was some pretty good banner back and forth between the two.
Yeah, Hulk as a character, since he can talk now, spoilers, if you didn't see any of the trailers, he can talk, is just so fucking funny. I loved everything with the Hulk in it. I was like, this is so good. Every bit of it. So I hope he eventually gets his own movie, but I don't think they're going to go back to doing that for him.
I was going to say, do you think they're going to try to make another Hulk movie?
They always underperform. And,
I think it's just, he's not exactly everyone's like favorite person, so...
No one knows his bad guys.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's Abomination, and Abomination's in the movie, and he looks just like Abomination. And then there's like, I forget the guy's name, but the mastermind guy who they had in the movie who creates Abomination, he's in that too. And it was a really good origin story for all those characters, and everyone's like, it sucked. I thought it was okay. So
I kind of feel like you could almost do a She-Hulk movie, and it would perform better than a Hulk movie.
She-Hulk is I don't know. I don't know any of the bad guys from She-Hulk either, but I know about She-Hulk as a character herself. So
yeah.
I wonder if Wonder Woman is going to spark a whole series of female comic book hero movies.
Well, they had already planned on Captain Marvel.
Yeah, she's going to be awesome too. Captain Marvel was originally a guy, and when they retconned it and rebooted her, they made it a female, and everyone's like, "This works better."
I mean, I think it'd be cool to see like Lady Deadpool, Gwen,
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jane Foster as Thor, which would be
I'm
hilarious.
looking at a Spider-Gwen statue right now. I bought it from GameStop.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, actually, Wonder Woman is in the additional news segment, which we'll get to in a little bit, because Gal Gadot is.
I don't want to get to
awesome.
it. It's so sad.
It's not sad. It's good news. So, have you heard about this yet, Charlie? I'll just jump straight to it then. Gal Gadot, because Brett Ratner has so much to do with it because he's built out so many different franchises.
Yeah.
He was part of the production of the first one. He was supposed to be part of the production for the second one. There's 6 sexual harassment and even 1 pending rape allegation against him.
Ooh.
And Gal Gadot went to Warner Brothers and she's like, I will not be in Wonder Woman 2 if he's in any way, shape, or form attached to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's like, he will be completely removed or I will not be part of this.
It just sucks because he technically, I read some more into it, he technically has the contract to do it, so unless they're going to break contract, which I'm sure there's a loophole, there's some way they can get out of it. But
oh, they'll break it. However they have to.
I mean, if he gets convicted or is like having litigation issues, then I'm sure there's some kind of clause in the
I'm sure it just
contract for legal issues.
Just
he already separated from one project and from like Warner Brothers on future projects.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to do it because it's like Gal Gadot at this point is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And
you
like
can't
to try and
change it.
recast her, it won't work, especially
Good
when
for
they're
her,
trying
though.
to do the
Throw her
extended
weight around.
universe. What's that?
So good for her though. Throw her weight around.
She was just like, not fucking doing it, bro. Like, not happening.
shut this shit down.
I was impressed to see that. I was like, that's exactly what I would want out of someone who plays Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So, but right on. That is what we've been playing,
CJ's
what we've been watching. What CJ's been watching.
Oh, so okay. I did Thor, and then what else have I been watching? I finished. I'm 1 week behind actually. Like I finished Stranger Things 2.
Oh, I haven't need to watch that.
the last week. I thought you guys were having like your little viewing
did.
party.
We had like 4 episodes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Figured you guys would just binged it all. I see. So I finished that. That was super good. Really enjoyable. It kind of sucks that, like, I prefer to have. That's why I watch this. Like I said in the anime episode, that's why I like anime, because I can just watch as much as I want. I don't have to like wait for a week. Now it kind of sucks that I watch that and I have to wait a year. Like, and then just also knowing that I have to wait a year and it's going to be the last season already. That's really going to suck.
They said that they might extend it a couple more seasons, but they're not going to run it past like 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what I'd really like to see is they do like 2 more seasons, then they shut it down, then they wait for them to become adults and bring them back, like in 7 or 8 years, where they're all like in their late teens, early 20s.
Late teens, yeah.
Like Stand By Me.
I think they'll be fucking sweet. Where it's like,
pretty cool.
oh, new Stranger Things. Like, oh my god, have you seen the Stranger Things reboot coming out? Like, that'll be fucking sweet. So
Yeah, that's
right
what
on.
I've been watching.
Cool. Before we move into the big 3, we're going to go ahead and go to the Nerd Chills BlizzCon 2017 giveaway winner. We did have quite a few people, almost 60 of you, shared the post. It was viewed by up to 12,000 people, which is a fuck ton.
And now you all have to listen to this to find out who won.
All right. We're going to contact whoever won on Monday after the episode releases as well. But just to read a couple things that were actually posted. People like Jesse Vargas, who said, learning an Orisa Roadhog trick in the World Cup. If enemy Orisa has a shield up over her and her buds, your Orisa can shoot a pulling bubble above them, lift the other team up, and your Roadhog can hook them, and the enemy shield won't block the hook from coming back. Great for picking people off. So that's really fun stuff that happened during BlizzCon. We had a couple of people say the things that they're most excited for. Looking forward to seeing all the creative cosplays. That was Christian Cook. Chloe Hawkins Godfrey said the World Cup was amazing, which it totally was. I thought Canada was going to pull it out for Team North America instead of letting South Korea win like they always did. But they, of course, did not. There's just a ton of stuff. A lot of people talking about Moira, the new healer for Overwatch. So we really appreciate all you guys coming out. But there was indeed one winner, which I have already forgotten the name of. Oh, here it is. So our winner for the 2017 Nerd Chills BlizzCon trip is Brendan Roberts. Congratulations, Brendan. You're going to be getting the loot bag and some extra stuff that we got at BlizzCon that we decided to toss in there for you. It'll come with everything that you saw in the picture and during the unboxing video, plus some extra goodies. So we'll be reaching out to you, and you can let us know where to send it. We'll send it from our P.O. box. So you can't stalk us, but you can always send us stuff if you want to. But we do appreciate everyone that competed, and if you guys want to send us an email at nerdchills@nerdchills.net, we'd be happy to send you a pin or something like that for consolation.
We are definitely going to do more contests. We have so much stuff to give you guys.
Yeah, we realized how much free shit we've gotten this year from all the
much
events
shit.
we've traveled to, and it's like we have a closet full of free shit, all just random different stuff. So
I would love to do, like, I know we don't pay a lot of attention to,
excuse me.
we don't do as much of our cell phone book club as we would like, but if we did Phone Destroyer for that, like, I have so much South Park stuff.
I'm totally down for
Like,
doing that.
I at least have a lanyard and a hat, and
Yeah, if we did cell phone book club for Card Destroyer, and then we can have whoever has the highest score, or however we can rate that. I don't know how the game works yet.
yeah.
Collect the prize. That'd be really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other contest, which was for who would share our posts for the new episodes the most in the month of October, I have gone back and checked the numbers and confirmed that. And Dave, who can be found in our Discord and on our group chats and basically everywhere, he was the one who actually shared the most. We appreciate you, Dave. You're going to win
Good
a
job,
StarCraft
Dave.
2 Battlefront poster and then some other StarCraft stuff. Star Wars stuff that we're going to toss in there as well.
There's this episode of Flight of the Conchords with a character named Dave, and they're like, "You're a legend, Dave." That's what I was just thinking.
If we could play that without getting sued, we would. So that's all the contests and everything. Thank you guys so much for participating, and we're going to have more coming up. Yes. You guys seem to really enjoy getting free stuff, and we like giving it away.
Yeah.
So that's going to work out really, really well. If any of you want to play the Darwin Project right now, it's gone into alpha, and they're going to be having weekends.
What?
They had a really good turnout, and they're upping the amount of people they want in there. If you go to their Twitter, they've just been spamming free keys for everyone. If you guys go there and you go to their Twitter and all the keys have been used, contact me. I do have 2 of them right now that they gave over to me because I retweet them like as soon as they post shit. And they are just like, here, bring more friends. So you guys can reach out to me at mailem@nerdchills.net.
So is it still going to be only Thursdays, or when can you play?
It's weekends now, so it was literally
Weekends.
the start of Friday, and it just ended. Right now, it's 10 o'clock on Sunday, so it ended an hour ago. And they lifted the streaming ban, so you can actually watch it
Wow.
on Twitch if you want to. It's just a shorter, abbreviated version of stuff like PUBG and Fortnite. It's 8 players that get dropped into an arena, and 1 player gets to be the game master, which kind of controls the arena as it shuts down sections. It's not like the circle that shrinks that forces everyone together. It's more like a honeycomb where each column or whatever gets eliminated, where you can no longer be in it, and then certain things can happen to it, like nuclear bombs can be dropped on some of them, and it's really fun. So check that out.
It was
if
a
you guys
blast
want.
when we played that one day.
It really was, and I really want to have a day where I can just sit down and stream it, but we'll see when that can be, because it's not anytime soon. So probably Thanksgiving weekend is when I'm hoping to get it done.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so if you guys want to get to it and you have time, let me know, and I have two keys to send your way. So that is everything for the giveaways. So we can move right along into the normal big 3 news. Tons and tons of stuff in the world of Microsoft. So CJ, take it away.
I actually do have some. So obviously the Xbox One X console released, which so far my experience with mine is kind of like Adam's saying, load times pretty much gone. I have a 4K monitor, so I've been able to experience the Xbox to its fullest extent, and just going back, and because you can go back and watch clips of you playing on like an Xbox One or an Xbox One S, and just seeing the difference in between like Madden, something that I've played a bunch of because I've had some friends over. There's a lot more attention to detail, a lot more textures, and it just runs a lot smoother. I'm really excited to see something like Assassin's Creed Origins, which I'll probably be picking up soon. I even went back and played Destiny, and that looks really nice. So the Xbox One X has, to me, been a successful launch, but there's been some issues, like the Xbox One X bricking, which I haven't heard too much of it now compared to when it first came out. But they're saying it's not an issue with faulty hardware. They haven't really they haven't really come out and said what's causing it, but now they've come out and said that they're pretty sure it's not going to be related to hardware, so it's kind of maybe like user error.
I did have a couple people that I talked to who had issues doing like the initial update, like it was just freezing in the update, like the very first time they tried to update it to use it. So it could be a software issue.
Yeah, I thought like when it was going through that setup and it went to do that update, mine got stuck at like 40% for a second, and I was like, this is kind of weird, because it like was flying along. It was going up like 3 and 4%, and then all of a sudden it hit 40 and stopped. And I was like, maybe it's doing like the iPhone thing where like the first half of the bar shows that it's downloading, the second half shows it's applying. So I thought maybe it was applying the update as it was going, and then I know it just kind of shot across and was done. So I thought I was going to get stuck with the update issue, but I ended up getting past it. But I've had no issues with mine yet.
I was really relieved. Mine just went straight through. I was like, oh, thank God. I really needed something to work the first time and not have to worry about anything after that. I had issues with my HDMI not working, and it was because the transition of moving my old Xbox out and putting my new Xbox in jostled the cable loose from my TV.
Oh, God.
So I got behind it and unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it just popped up. I was like, thank you. I was like, I don't want something that doesn't work. I just don't. I need something that works one shot, and I don't have to worry about customer service or any of that nonsense.
So moving on to my next piece of Xbox news. I haven't really read much reviews about the Xbox One X, just because I think console reviews are a little weird. But I just happened to be on IGN's front page, and I saw this one, so I picked it out. They gave it a 9.
They ran that thing through too. They did a bunch of tech spec reviews and side by sides, and the guy got a cooling gun and an infrared camera, or a temperature gun and an infrared camera, to see exactly how hot it ran and stuff like that. It was awesome.
Yeah, they definitely deep dived on it and gave it a 9, which I thought that's probably where it's at. Maybe a little lower. I don't think it's definitely like a 10 or a knock it out of the park, but I'm excited to have it. It is really nice if you're someone who that wants to try to do high-end gaming without having to buy a $1,000+ PC in order to use your 4K TVs or 4K Blu-rays or anything like that, so that's nice. It's a lot cheaper. And I got one more.
Can't like rate it definitively until I get a 4K TV, so I can kind of see what it looks like. But I don't know. My experiences have been largely positive, and I'm very happy with mine. So
I'm sure I'm sure it's cool having like a faster loading time. I'm just really interested to see what they're gonna do with it, like what they're really gonna do with the technology. Because I just feel like
at this point, that was one like comment I kept seeing was like at this point, Microsoft is kind of putting it on the developers. At this point, it's like we made the console that you guys wanted. Now it's your job to
stretch the limits.
Take it and see what you can come up with.
When you see stuff where it's like they're failing due to the tech limitations, and it's like, okay, well, here's a box that can do anything that you guys can imagine at this point. And like listening to developers talk about like, well, this is what we originally wanted to do, but it was outside of the scope of like the project. And it's like looking at something like the Star Wars game that was recently canceled, where there was like so much controversy because there was so much they wanted to do, and it was beyond the scope of like capabilities. Like maybe something like that could have been
doable.
It could have been doable on something like this powerful.
Well, then it just becomes kind of an expensive proposition. So if they make a game or they make something that can only be done on the Xbox One X, then you have to explain to everyone who has a regular Xbox One that they're going to be playing, a dumbed down version of the game, kind of like when 360 was still around and people, made games for both, but it could do so much more on Xbox One.
Yeah, but we make those excuses all the time for stuff like Switch. Where it's like, well, we have a dumbed down version of Doom, and everyone's happy. But it's like, if you want something, and you wanted something like that intense, then people usually become PC Master Race.
Yeah,
and it's like,
plus,
here's an introductory price of $500.
I don't think the difference in the gameplay is going to be as bad as it was from Xbox One to Xbox 360. Like I remember, the one I paid the most attention to was Call of Duty Ghost. And there's all those pictures were on the internet. I actually think we talked about it in one of our first podcast episodes. The picture of the PS4 and the Xbox One version, it was kind of like a top-down view of one of the maps. And there were like bushes and trees and tanks in the middle. And then you looked at the 360 version and there were like no trees, no bushes. The tank was gone. It was a tiny little Jeep. Like they completely transformed the map. And I just think with the Xbox One still being powerful, it's not going to be too big of a difference.
Well, then my question becomes, what's the point of making a better version of your game for just the X users? And then what's the point of building a different version of your game from the PS4 users? Does that become an expense for the developer that they don't care to take on?
I think for the most part, if the audience is there, they take it on, which is why you see people translating things to Switch, even though it's only sold 7 million units at this point, because the audience is there. And that's why versions take longer to come out to PC, because they know people are going to want it on PC and want the specs to be completely different. Mm-hmm. So if you have something where it's like, hey, we developed this version of the game, and then we took stuff out, we took assets out so they can release on PS4 and Xbox One regular, then it's just something where they're like, it's just a slightly less complete version of the product that we decided to build from the ground up. And I think the way we're looking at it right now is kind of superficial, where it's like, the graphic enhancements, and this one's going to run at 60 frames per second versus another one that might not be pegged. I think it's more along the lines of like having an expansive continuous universe and like view distances and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then having like people on the same screen simultaneously. It's like maybe in the future something like Destiny that wants to have a bunch of concurrent players on the same screen will want to run on something like an Xbox One X versus running on something like a PS4 or even a PS4 Pro. It's like this one can actually handle the load better, and we won't have to worry about capping how many people are in your party because it won't be able to render it as easily. But again, like CJ said, it's on the developers at this point to figure out what they want and how they want to do it. And, realistically, when you have a bunch of indie developers that are doing really, really well and they're very successful, at least critically, making games that aren't graphically intensive, it'll be interesting to see what AAA titles can do with it. But when you have AAA developers that have publishers like EA, where it's like, well, we don't want to risk anything.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see who's going to step up and be like, we will, we will totally fucking risk it.
I think there will be some indie developers who want to just see something really cool that they can do
just
on it.
Just push it. Yeah.
But I just don't know if that will be enough for the people that bought the system to be like, oh, this cool indie game can do this crazy stuff.
I think it's just like any other hardware upgrade. It's like, why do people upgrade their phones to the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 10 when they have the iPhone 5 and it works just fine?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, at some point you're like, I hate loading the slowest, and I hate running the slowest, and like I checked all the stats on this thing. Like I can run better on the internet now because it has a much better onboard Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is like awesome, because before I was going to have to upgrade my router for like $200 or $300 just so I could have a better Wi-Fi signal, because the booster I bought doesn't even work very well. And just sitting it down and hooking it up, I was like, oh shit, like I'm playing Overwatch and I'm not getting as much lag as I normally do. And that one thing, that one upgrade along with loading faster, I was like, at some point I was going to have to buy a new Xbox anyways, so I'm kind of happy that I spent the extra couple $100 and got the one that I don't think I'm going to have to upgrade for a while.
Yeah.
Would certainly hope not.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Anywho.
So the other one, it's a cross between PlayStation and Xbox, and I didn't see this. I didn't see this article in anything else. So the title reads: PlayStation leads again. This is for October, but Xbox rises in October with 102.3 million gaming, TV, and ads spent. So PlayStation still spends more money on ads, but Xbox is slowly catching back up to them. I think I don't think I've ever really seen a Xbox. How do I want to word this? Like, I've never seen an ad for just the console more times than I have the Xbox One X. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that when you're watching like Fox and everything. Like today, for instance, when I was watching football games, there's 3 or 4 times I remember they flipped a commercial, and it wasn't even about a game. It wasn't about anything. It was just a commercial for the Xbox One X, the console itself.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot. I only see them when I watch football or if I'm watching SportsCenter, and usually I'm watching those on streaming services where when it goes to commercial, it says, like, the advertisers are paying for this. It will be right back because they don't collect revenue off of it.
I think that I would assume that a good portion of Sony's advertisement goes towards games. Like right now they're doing Star Wars Battlefront, and then at the end or the beginning of that trailer you'll see PlayStation stuff.
Would that be EA's budget that they're just contributing to for the advertising?
Yeah, because they pay for the ability to slap their advertisement on Call of Duty, Star Wars, all those big titles that they're partnered with. Like,
Just right at the end there.
So much so that I have people ask me, is that game coming out for Xbox too? And I'm like, yes.
It's really funny to me that they do that, because it's like, yeah, you're advertising a ton for that game, and then at some point it's going to be like, oh, it's on both. It's not exclusive. It's like, yeah, you're putting your logo on it, and that's a lot of money spent. But for people that are going to buy it, most people just know, like,
so many
it's
people
on both.
It's crazy.
So,
but that is all of my Xbox news for the week.
Right on. So moving right ahead, what do we have for Sony, Charlie?
I just have a couple pieces of Sony news. The first one is about MLB The Show. They officially announced MLB The Show 18. It'll be out March 27th, and the cover athlete is going to be Aaron Judge, outfielder for the
New York Yankees.
Boo, I'm not buying it because of that.
Oh my god. So there was that. There wasn't really any other details. They have a few different versions of the game, like editions, but there was not a lot of details about it.
Right.
The second article talks about, I think it's something we talked about last week, about Shadow of the Colossus. How the controls are terrible, and they're updating the controls.
Thank the Lord.
They're not doing a ridiculous amount of updates. The biggest changes are things that are just kind of normal for the system. Like when you press on the touchpad, you can get to a map, and just simple things that they do in most games on PlayStation nowadays. You can still revert back to the other controls if you want to.
If you want to fight the game to enjoy it,
if you're a purist,
the option is available.
But not big changes. It's just they're updating it a little bit so that you can actually get used to playing it like your other PS4 games. So if you're into the original Shadow of War or Shadow of Colossus controls, you can still play like that. But
that's so funny that they're going to leave that in there.
Otherwise, it'll be like a normal PS4 game. Did they? I don't know if they dated it before, but it comes out February 7th.
I don't think they did. They just said February, I think. That's all I've heard to this point.
Yeah. So that's kind of starting to round out our spring. What is that? Monster Hunter, Ni no Kuni, Shadow of the Colossus.
It comes out in January. There's something big they announced for January.
Dissidia. And then supposedly Red Dead and Far Cry in the spring. We'll see.
I believe Far Cry. I don't believe Red Dead for a hot minute.
Yeah, I know.
I don't believe Red Dead.
Me neither.
I stick to my original prediction of Red Dead being September of 2018.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be fall for sure, but we'll see. Anywho, that is my short bit of Sony news.
Right on. I'll jump right into Nintendo. I do not have a whole lot for you guys for Nintendo this week. Hooray. Because it's been quite a bit lately, and it's not all been positive, but Grizo, a Japanese video game developer best known for the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask reboots that they made for the 3DS, recently started recruiting developers for the Unreal 4 engine. I should say programmers, not developers, which is really interesting because there's been a lot of demos put up on the internet of parts of the Ocarina of Time game rebuilt in the Unreal 4 engine, which is just incredible looking. So it'll be really interesting to see what project they're working on. Might not be a Zelda game. Everyone kind of hopes it will be. But realistically, they've already done Ocarina and Majora's Mask. We've already gotten HD remakes for Wind Waker and for Twilight Princess, so I'm not exactly sure what they could work on in the Legend of Zelda franchise. But maybe they do one. I'll be honest, I'm a sucker. If they did an Ocarina of Time HD remake, I would totally buy the shit out of that. I would not hesitate if they're like Unreal 4 engine. I would be there day one. Be like, can I get my $200 edition so I can put another fucking pedestal up on my mantle that has a Master Sword in it? But it'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out. Maybe it'll be a different franchise for Nintendo. Maybe they're building out a new Castlevania game. Who the hell knows? I would love to see that. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Ubisoft did come out and say that their bottom line has done very well. And when it comes to the Nintendo console, it's definitely helped out their sales. Stuff like Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle has definitely helped them out. More so than they expected, and they're going to be putting a lot more effort into developing for the platform. And their games have been coming out to solid reviews. So, and then of course the one that always comes out every year is Just Dance Just Dance, which came out on October 24th.
I don't know how that franchise survives.
Well, the article that I'm reading from, which is on VentureBeat.com, states that Just Dance debuted on October 24th, and though the sales aren't available for that title yet, it's the latest installment in a hit series that sold over 48 million copies so far.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's insane.
It's an incredibly popular series. I just don't think... I think it dies a little bit every year.
Yeah, and I hope soon, because I really don't like it, and I'd like for them to move on to
especially with no
else.
Kinect now,
Dude, and, well, you could use your phone now, so you don't even need any kind of camera or anything for any platform.
Yeah, so let's just say Just Dance Mobile comes out, and you see people in the streets just getting down.
That's what they should do. They should just do a Just Dance game on mobile and let you buy songs and be done with it.
Or you could just dance to music in the streets without having Just Dance prompting you.
Yeah. I would totally put a Michael Jackson glove on and just walk up to people and be like, I challenge you to Just Dance Mobile.
Dude, the weird stuff in that game, though, I don't get it anymore. It's like they're, bears and everything's, EDC colors. I just don't understand.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm never going to be, I don't know, on that wave, so.
I don't have the coordination for it.
The next wave is definitely something that I'm part of. It looks like Nintendo Switch is finally getting a streaming service.
Woo.
Not Netflix like everyone had hoped for first, but Hulu. And Hulu's not bad, so, right?
How much do you think... So do you think Hulu just developed it first, or do you think Hulu paid?
I think Hulu developed it first. I don't think they're trying to get exclusive rights.
I don't think Nintendo cares.
I think Netflix is too busy making new TV shows and canceling ones with sexual predators in them. So Hulu's just sitting there like, I guess we'll develop an app. Let's be real. They've had a really bad run of it for this last couple weeks.
It's and it's canceled.
And this one's canceled. And this one's canceled. Goddamn, keep your dick in your pants, people. But yeah, it's kind of cool that Hulu's on its way there. There are a bunch of stuff on Hulu right now, so you can go and, plan what you want to watch. There's this big argument that I kept hearing, why would they put this on there? It's mainly because everything can stream now. TVs can stream. You expect your console to stream, and if it's mobile, then you can stream on your mobile device. They're like, why wouldn't you just stream on your phone? It's like, why wouldn't you just play video games on your phone? It's all about personal preference, and it's an option that is now available. So
honestly, I'm pretty excited because the screen's tiny, but I watch TV in my kitchen on my laptop, and that's annoying to me. So I'm excited to try setting it up on my counter and just watching it on that, and then taking it into my bedroom and docking it.
Right.
I'm really interested to see how quick and easy that is.
There's not a whole lot of devices
that
where you
transition.
can just transition it and not have to worry about pausing and then hoping it saved your spot and then going online and logging in again and doing all that nonsense.
Like, that was the cool part about the Wii U. The Wii U had Netflix and stuff on it, and then you had the ability to switch it to the other screen, so, like, I could take it down into my kitchen and then walk back up and switch it back to my television just by pushing the button on the screen, so I'm kind of interested.
Right. So this is a good thing, Nintendo fans.
Yeah.
So, but that's like everything I had for the world of Nintendo. It hasn't been a super busy week. It's been more about the video games. However, like fresh off of BlizzCon and the Overwatch League that was announced that I'm like super jacked for. Jeff Kaplan did give an interview, and he was talking about fighting toxicity in Overwatch's community. This number was staggering to me. Over 480,000 accounts have been punished by Blizzard, and they're going to start moving toward permanent bans for offenses in competitive play. Which begs the question, like, what about quick matches? Like, are you allowed to be a piece of shit in quick matches? Because if so, then I'll go play there.
Yeah,
not really. But it's impressive to know that they understand that if they're going to dump so much money into having a league where they want people to watch it as a sport and then they have access to go play it, then they don't want people to go play it and to jump online and instantly be told someone fucked their mom or whatever else some fucking 6-year-old is going to tell me. So it's like, it's nice to see that they're being proactive about it, because it's definitely a toxic thing. Like, I was playing with Robin, and we were doing the Halloween event. Everyone picked DPS characters, and all she could pick was the healer, which she didn't know how to use. So she's learning how to use it, and she's doing a good job, and some dude kept running off and dying, and he literally stopped in the middle of the game to message her and tell her she's a trash healer.
Wow.
And it's like, you're a piece of fucking shit. So she reported him. And she's like, maybe he should have healed then instead of being a DPS if he knows so much about healing.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to try and introduce like this mass audience to your game, it's definitely something where you're going to want to take people saying like, hey, this person acted like a piece of crap seriously. So it's like throwing a flag in the NFL for like unsportsmanlike conduct. It's like, if you don't have the ability to do that in your video game, then you're going to not do well at turning it into an esport. So it's nice to see that. Next piece of additional news. I fucking love this. This is so cool. So we were talking about Thor Ragnarok and that it released actually not this past weekend but the weekend before. The entire cast showed up at a screening during the opening weekend along with talk show host James Corden, who's on CBS. He's on their Late Late Show.
Yeah. And
And everyone was like waiting for the movie to start, and he came out, and he's like not that big of a celebrity. So like, who the fuck is this guy? And he introduced the special 4D version, and the entire cast came out in these cheap ass costumes that they fucking bought from Walmart and performed the movie as a play in front of the whole audience. And they said it was incredible. Everyone was super happy, and people were worried at first, like these people might want their money back. But everyone like absolutely loved it, and the entire cast just had a blast with it. It was just a really cool report. Like, I read this report about how Jared Leto crashed the screening of one of the Blade Runner movies to tell everyone before it that his character was really a good guy, and he hoped everyone enjoyed the film. And then they played it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that movie was amazing!" And then it's like, and then these guys show up, and they're just like, it's like Chris Hemsworth was apparently in like this Thor outfit that you would buy for a child. So his entire midsection is just showing the entire like 2-hour like 4D performance.
that's commitment.
Yeah, I was like, that is awesome. These guys really knew what they were doing, and I'm really happy too. I think by far Thor 3 was the best Thor movie ever made, because Thor 1 was okay, 2 was not good, but this one was fantastic, and they clearly enjoyed doing it, so they just went and did it again in front of a live audience. So thought that was super cool. Sticking with the world of Marvel, but only for a quick second, I'm really excited about this because I am a DC fanboy.
This is so crazy.
Brian Michael Bendis, who is one of the biggest contributors to Marvel Comics, and he's worked on a ton of stuff, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Daredevil. He has just left Marvel, and he was signed to an exclusive contract by DC Comics. Ooh. Super excited to see what the big event is that they will have him work on. And what's going to come of this, but it's a big loss for Marvel, and it's a big gain for DC Comics. So
I really like his tweet. It's like, this is real. I love you all. Change is good. Change is healthy. I'm bursting with ideas and inspirations. Details to come. Stay tuned.
I just hope he shows up and starts killing people off.
So excited.
It's like, dude,
I hope they give him Batman.
They're going to let him come in and do whatever he wants, like legitimately. Like, just take control of whatever franchise you want and run a giant event through it where you get to use all the characters. And it'll be super fun to see. And I think it'll really help them get an idea of how to run events, because they haven't done a very good job since like Blackest Night, which was like 10 years ago. which was awesome, which was Green Lantern based.
Yeah.
I mean, he's worked on Batman before, but like just the idea that he can run the board at DC and they're trying
Right.
to expand their universe and connect everything together is just, God, I'm so excited.
And their cinematic universe is kind of like a hobbled together mess right now, so we're all hoping Justice League plays out, and if it doesn't, then at least they have someone there that can like move them forward and
Put the pieces back together.
exactly. So this next piece of news is quite sad.
It is.
Yes, Telltale Games, the creators of stuff like Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, they did the Game of Thrones one. They're currently doing the Batman series. Did lay off 25% of their staff as part of their company restructuring. I think that amounts to, they said, around 90 people were basically just told, like, you're out of a job, which is sad because there are teams currently working on projects like finishing out Batman and Wolf Among Us 2.
Oh,
So
man. Better not sacrifice my Wolf Among Us.
it's sad to think that, like, these guys work so frequently. Because, like, since Walking Dead, I feel like there's been a Telltale game coming out, like, every month or so. Or a franchise.
There's been a
announced.
couple that like sneak in too.
There's a Guardians
Yes,
of the Galaxy one coming up.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman, Minecraft. They have a game.
There
Game
was
of
a Minecraft
Thrones.
one.
It was their worst selling one too.
Yeah, that game
Most
was
popular,
not great.
Wow.
like one of the most popular franchises out there, and it was one of their worst selling
Well,
ones.
this
Game
is
of
the
Thrones
thing.
was the other worst selling one too.
Minecraft is not for that. Like, you took a
Yeah.
game that is literally like build your own story, build your own universe, do whatever you want to do, and put it in the most linear style of gameplay of like just like make a couple choices, but otherwise this is how it's going to play out. And
Right.
like kids weren't into that. Kids aren't into that at all. And it just wasn't the right crowd, honestly. I don't think it was the worst game ever. I just think that if there had been some kind of weird Minecraft TV show to go along with it, it would have been fine.
Right.
But it didn't make sense.
But even then, it's like something like Game of Thrones. Like they
Yeah.
gave you a house that actually existed that you've just never seen in the show or the books. Had you interact with one of the most popular bad guys, and it was one of their worst selling franchises, and it was 6 episodes. And like this is my personal perspective from this whole thing is like I bought Game of Thrones, I bought Batman. I stopped playing them after 1 episode for Game of Thrones and 2 episodes for Batman for a very specific reason. I can't stand the fucking game engine.
Yeah.
I can't stand fighting it. I can't stand all of a sudden the sound dropping out.
So many problems.
All of a sudden, like, the screen is black, and it's just like, okay, you guys keep picking up, like, licenses. Just fix your fucking engine. Like, that's all I
Yeah.
want. I don't want to have to fight. I don't care if it doesn't look great. I just don't want to have to fight through trying to play the game just to get the story. Because at some points, I seriously just want to set the controller down and be like, every decision is going to be my guy just being silent, so I can just watch it play out.
I think it's hard because Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead were so popular because they're perfect for that. Like, not only are people used to just watching that story play out, but also the art style of the game is a comic book art style.
Right.
And those are probably
Yeah.
their two only super popular ones. Wolf Among Us is probably not super popular, but at least it works perfectly for what they do. I just think they need to learn to adjust a little bit depending on what they're working with. And Batman probably works well with it also in that
Yeah.
art style. But Game of Thrones looking a little cartoony, I'm sure didn't appeal to Game of Thrones fans. I don't think Game of Thrones fans really want
Yeah,
just
when
a
you're-
storyline based game.
When your engine has a specific amount of jank to it, where it's like, yeah, you're going to have to fight this. You're going to have to fight this a little bit. Like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
When it's like going into that, I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be a little bit fucked up. If they would have fixed it by now, I would play that game a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Because at some point that jank just wears on you. We're like, I've been trying for 30 minutes to just do this one thing. Or it's like, I can't see anything unless I turn my screen's brightness all the way up and then it's just shadows. Or like the dialogue just dropped out. I have no idea what the fuck they said unless I turn subtitles on. It's like if you have like a casual viewer who's like, oh, this is a really simple like game that I can pick up and make my own decisions and have my own choose your own adventure, and then all of a sudden it just stops working.
Yeah.
They're the first people that are gonna be like, game is broken. Like, game is broken. I want my money back. And it's
Game is broken.
$5 per episode, so they're not gonna spend money on the next episode.
Yeah.
And it's like they took a lot of liberties with the Batman thing, which is cool that they did that because it's a really good storyline where they're like, we're not going to follow the paths that all these characters normally take.
Right.
But like after the second one, which was a really good ending, I was just like, I can't, man. Like there was so much I had to do, which is what I want out of a Telltale game. But it's like I was fighting the system so hard. I was like, I wish they would just fix this. If they give it an update where they say like, this works better now, then I'd come back to it. But I dropped it.
What sucks is that there are other game series now too where they're doing similar things and they're doing it better.
Yeah, like the Madden storyline is basically a Telltale storyline.
Or like Until Dawn is kind of similar. Gosh, there's another one I was thinking of, but either way, there are other companies. Oh, there's a PlayLink game that's coming out, that VR game that's coming out, where PlayLink friends can help you through the storyline. So I mean, other people are going to take this formula and perfect it, and then they're going to be left in the dust. So they really need to figure out what they want the future of their games to be.
Just pause developing franchises and go back to the board and just fix the engine and then go from there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing they need to do. Because if they can come back and be like, completely glitch-free, it's not like it's long. It's like 3, maybe 1 to 2 hours per episode, if 3 for like a long one.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what people want. Like, you want to sit down and just get through it really quickly. But you don't want to have to go through it and be like, oh, like, I missed that decision, or I wasn't able to throw the battering at Catwoman in episode 1 because, like, I couldn't, like, see where I was supposed to throw it. So we'll see what happens with it. It sucks that 90 people lost their job.
Yes.
Another thing that did not go well, this is on the Hollywood side, the, quote, Dark Universe, which was Universal's attempt to have a shared universe for monster movies, starting with The Mummy, which was rebooted with a very old Tom Cruise, is officially dead.
Oh, no.
They've completely killed it off because Mummy underperformed so hard. Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man, and Frankenstein was supposed to be Javier Bardem. They were going to have Dracula eventually show up, maybe as the big bad.
The Mummy was just not a good start to that. Like, I feel like all those other franchises are so much stronger, and all those other characters are so much stronger, and like, no one cares about Tom Cruise. And
the success of the original, I shouldn't say the original, but the success of the Brendan Fraser Mummy reboot back in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, because those did very well.
That
I
Brendan
think they
Fraser
just
meme laughing.
right. They just assumed that was going to happen. Like, oh, people will go and see this, and it's like, no, dude. Like, putting a movie star from the 80s, who people have tons of reasons to not like anymore, and dropping him into a series that they are like Robin especially. She was like, I don't want to fucking see this. I love the Brendan Fraser ones. I hate that they're rebooting it. Why the fuck is Tom Cruise in here?
I know. Like,
and
he's
it's like,
the same
I don't
age
know.
as Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I don't know why they're doing that. And I don't know. The entire movie was just like, it wasn't even about the Mummy. It was like them trying to introduce this universe, and Russell Crowe was there as Dr. Jekyll / Mr. Hyde.
And that came in like towards the end, and it was really weird. And then the ending was really anticlimactic, and it didn't really open up to the universe very well. A lot went wrong, and I feel like a lot more people would have been interested had they approached the whole universe from a different character standpoint, like Dracula,
Right?
Or like those are characters that people either don't know very much about or know a lot about and love, but the Mummy was just not it.
It's like Samuel L. Jackson's speech from Deep Blue Sea, when he's like talking about all the things they're going to do to get out of this place alive, and then the shark just jumps out of the tank and fucking eats him. Like, that's what happened here. It's like they were getting ready to have something really good, and then they just got caught grandstanding, and then that was that.
That's sad.
So, moving along, EA has stated that they may no longer release Madden or FIFA every year.
Wow.
Which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you can just update the fucking
Great
rosters and just let the game engine speak for itself. I mean, if you're not changing that much year to year, you might as well. But the problem with that is people still fucking buy it.
I know. People buy Madden every year. I'm thinking of like how they're gonna. I mean, if they can sell money and stuff for their games, like 2K does it so well with VC. Oh my god, they sell so much VC. And I think they could sustain themselves just with VC alone. Or they could make people buy some of those things. I don't know.
I think that's the reason they're saying that is because, like, the MUT, the
you can
Madden
purchase
Ultimate
the
Team
cards,
or the Ultimate Team things are so popular.
Yeah.
This guy at work I know, he's from Croatia. Wonderful human being. The Croatia team, the Croatian national team is not in FIFA, but you can buy all the players and assemble your own teams, and he goes and he spends like $100 extra each year to build out his Croatia team.
Yeah.
And it's like, that shit's real. Like, especially for places aside from the U.S. for FIFA. Like, people are obsessed with soccer everywhere else in the world. So
I mean, completely unrelated to EA, but I know somebody who buys literally at least $100 worth of money for MLB a week.
wow.
Yeah, like it is.
A week.
It is insane, and he keeps like telling me like he's like, oh yeah, I'm building up to this, and then the next week I see him. Like every week, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I just need to buy a few more things, and it's a real problem, and I'm just shocked every time.
You're like worried about him every time you see
I'm a
him.
little worried, but yeah, I mean, if people can pour money into those games continuously, then they could potentially just sustain themselves that way.
They did say that they wanted to have it be, quote, 365 days live. So it's something where they want people to always have access to it, and it's like they kind of do, and people have been trained to, update their version of the game every year. So it's like if you say like every 2 years, they're going to do that. They will do that. You'll probably sell more. You'll probably have people that like fall out of Madden, come back, and be like, "Oh my god, they took a year off. What's different?"
Yeah.
And it'll just be interesting to see if they.
They have to have. I feel like they have big plans for the Madden Ultimate Team if they're going to start doing 2-year releases. Like they're going to make some changes.
They're gonna have to do something
in the currency. They're going to make changes in how the boxes or how the card packs open, like what you get. Because I think that's where they're heading towards. Because it's already huge. There's already people that have spent probably another million plus dollars on just the in-game currency to purchase the packs. So,
right.
Especially if Madden is pushing super hard to try to get into esports. So it's just so much easier if you don't have to worry about your players having to learn the mechanics of a whole new game every single year.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see EA especially be like, we think it'll be more profitable to do it this way, and they're a publisher. It's like it'll be cheaper than like making these fucking game cases, printing these fucking games, sending them out, and it'll be easier if we just do some sort of promotion or I don't know what the hell they have in mind, but I'm sure they have something up their sleeve.
Yeah.
And that's why they haven't confirmed it yet. They're just thinking about doing it because they probably cost a lot of fucking money to put a game out, even if it's like one that people are going to buy. But
and I mean, I feel like they've been laying the groundwork for it because in previous Maddens, besides maybe like prior to the last maybe 5 years, all the players' stats stayed the same. None of the new players entered, like none of the kids coming from college. Or now, every time there's after every week, they reevaluate all the players. You get a roster update. People have new overalls. They add new players in. They've even started like giving pictures to some of the players that didn't have pictures before because they weren't they were like on practice teams or not starters,
undrafted free agents,
and they've updated people's pictures for the teams they're on, like the Kelvin Benjamin picture in the original Madden 18. You could clearly see he had the baby blue uniform on for the Panthers, and now he's got the Bills.
I'm just hoping it goes well. I'm hoping they don't do it in a way that fucks over the gamers so that they can make more money, because that seems like their meetings where they sit down, they're like, hey guys, like let's figure out how we can exploit these guys while also not making them happy.
They're like, get out the mustache wax. Start twisting your mustaches.
It's hilarious. Another piece of additional news, Monster Hunter World. This is kind of brief, but they did detail a bunch of stuff like quest log and how the game will play out. It looks very similar to an MMORPG, and they did state that you can have up to 50 members on your squads.
Jesus.
So it's like, it really just seems like it's going to be a world of raid bosses, and I'm actually really excited for that because I haven't really been that jazzed up for this game.
It's so much fun.
It sounds like...
What are we playing it on?
Xbox One X for me. I hope it's cross-platform play by the time it comes out. That would be very nice.
Play as Aloy.
You can see, that's why it would be nice if you could just play PlayStation to Xbox One, because then you could play as Aloy, and I could play on like the $500 system I just bought. So
yep.
Well, whatever.
We'll figure it out, and we'll have our raid nights where you can come raid with Nerd Chills,
or you can watch us on Nerd Chills streaming.
It sounds more like, I don't know. I don't want to use a word that's not going to be politically correct, so I'll just say it sounds more like...
We're not very politically correct around here, so...
It sounds more like a monster lynching than hunter, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's more like a mob than it is really like
50 people curb stomping this creature that's just wandering around in this beautiful greenery. Like,
when you go hunting, you don't normally take 50 people to hunt one thing, so...
I guarantee you, the very first time somebody takes a group of 50 to go fight one of these things, they're going to get wiped in about 30 seconds.
Right. It's going to be one of those things, I think, where it'll... When I see 50, I'm like, these things better be on the scale.
I really hope
that 50 people would need to be needed to take something down, and not just like, oh, it's a rabbit with 1 billion health. So we shall see.
Well, it's probably like it's probably on the scale to where it needs 51 people, so everyone has to play out of their minds.
That'd be, I don't know, kind of cool actually.
Rabbit. That'd be cool.
I think Charlie has the next article, actually.
Yeah. So I was really, really excited about this announcement. The people that made Pokemon Go, Niantic, they announced their new venture, which has been rumored for quite a while. They are working on Harry Potter Wizards Unite, an AR game just like Pokemon, or similar to Pokemon Go, but in the Harry Potter universe. I am toast excited. It says that you will learn spells, explore your real-world neighborhood and neighborhoods and cities, and discover and fight legendary beasts. So yeah.
I wish they had more built into the Harry Potter lore, like a catalog of 750 creatures that I would want to catch, rather than just the stuff I've seen in Fantastic Beasts and where to find them in the Harry Potter movies.
I hope it's more so Harry Potter than Fantastic Beasts, because I mean they have done some Fantastic Beasts mobile games, and I think that it's cool, but it's just not as sterling as Harry Potter.
Gripping.
Right? How can I, in the AR world, murder people and shatter my soul and create Horcruxes? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited. I think it's going to be cool. I'll totally wander around my neighborhood looking for Harry Potter stuff.
I am excited as well. I shouldn't be, but I am, because I know I'm going to play the crap out of it when it comes out and then drop it after like 3 weeks.
True.
So, but we'll see. Here's a piece of good news from EA.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. We'll see.
Well,
good for some. Good for EA, but
this
not.
This is basically part of the reason why the Star Wars game was shut down that was going to be coming out from Visceral, and that whole thing was scrapped, is because Respawn had been working on a Star Wars game as well, and they were very impressed with it. And then if you read the article regarding the other Star Wars game that was going to be coming out from Visceral that was a giant shit show, they realized that, hey, we can have Respawn work on this, and we might as well.
Yeah.
Then another company stepped forward and tried to buy Respawn. Because of the deal that Respawn had with EA, EA had 30 days to match the offer to basically purchase Respawn, because they didn't exactly own them, but they were part of their company. So when this separate company decided to put in an offer, they sat down and evaluated it. And during that period, while they were evaluating, they got rid of Visceral. They transferred the project over to Respawn, and then they purchased Respawn for $455 million.
Jeez.
Yeah,
They
which
put
is
a,
insane.
They put a ring on it.
But like,
Make it
as much
official.
as you can say, like, oh, that might not be good, because they might come in there and have all these expectations that they want to have for Respawn now. For the people of Respawn, who got fucked hard by Activision after they kind of built that company by making Call of Duty and making the Modern War franchise and making it as popular as it is, and then they all left, and of course they named their new company Respawn. They just got a huge fucking paycheck, and $151 million of that is up front. Where it's like, here's $455 million for you guys to be with us for X amount of years, and here's 33% of it, like, up front in your pocket right now. Wow. So when you have that much money, I think people are going to work a little bit happier. We'll see what kind of expectations get put on them. But I thought it was something where it's like, they finally saved a gaming studio rather than murdering one. And someone was like, well, maybe they thought really, really far ahead and decided that they were going to release Titanfall 2 between Battlefield and Call of Duty last year so they could drive the price down. And it's like, they paid $455 million for them. They really didn't drive the price down, and someone else was trying to buy them. So if they were trying to do that, it would be to avoid someone coming in and purchasing them, because they would like hurt their value, so someone wouldn't say like, oh, I want to buy that company that just released a game that no one bought. And it still kind of worked out for Respawn, so I am happy about it from that perspective.
I hope that if they feel passionately about Star Wars, and I mean, we were just saying like last week or the week before that they need to pick people that want to make a good Star Wars game and that care a lot about Star Wars.
Right.
So I'm glad that they're trying to do that.
I don't know if EA at all cares about Star Wars. They just have the license for 10 years. They're like, put out as much as we can.
Right.
So,
yeah, do as much as we can with this content.
but we'll see what all happens with it. We'll see how it all shakes out. I do trust Respawn. I did quite like Titanfall. So, and speaking of Star Wars, the last piece of additional news I have is a fucking big one. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you should probably sit down. So Rian Johnson, the person who is directing Star Wars Episode 8 that is going to be coming out in almost a month, maybe. A month and like 3 days. Has
Getting
been
close.
tapped and hired by LucasArts and Disney to direct a brand new trilogy. So he's going to be
Dang.
directing 3 new movies set wherever the fuck he wants with brand new characters. He gets to make up a completely new
They must
story.
feel really strongly about this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because he had tweeted like 4 days before the deal. He's like, I really hope everyone likes Star Wars The Last Jedi. And then he tweeted after this deal was announced where it's like, they're going to have him write 3 brand new movies. He's going to direct the first one for sure.
Crazy.
It's like they're giving him the keys to the kingdom for the most important franchise to a lot of nerds. So then he tweeted again. He's like, now I really, really hope you guys like Episode 8.
dude.
Because no one's even seen this movie.
That's so much
no one's seen the
pressure.
movie yet. So if this movie comes out and it sucks, and Star Wars fans don't like it, this is the worst news you've ever heard. But if this movie comes out and it's amazing, then you have a guy that's helming 3 brand new movies in the universe that you love, where you don't have to worry about the baggage of the fucking Skywalker clan walking around and fucking over the galaxy. That seems that's all they fucking do, is they drag everyone in their fucking family squabbles. It'll be nice to have them not be attached to it, because like we talked about before, when it comes to Star Wars, it's hard to have new characters show up when you have like these imposing characters like Luke and Leia and Han. And it's like, if you can just start new and have people form new attachments and then build a trilogy off of that, it's not easy to do it while you're merging it with the old universe. So to just do whatever you want. And he can tap into whatever source material he wants. People were talking about like, oh, I'd love to see this story made.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm like, no, I'm good, because I think that game told the story well enough for me. I hope it's set way far in the future.
Please don't ruin it.
Where they talk about all the stuff I cared about as if it was history.
Yeah.
So I don't have to see them try and fucking do it and then change little details about it so that I can complain. So this is big. We'll see how it... Like, December 15th, I'll let you guys know whether or not this is really good news or really bad news.
I mean,
So-
Last Jedi looks really good. I'm actually really interested to see it, and I don't usually care about Star Wars, so...
Yeah. I don't know. I'm nervous. I think the trailers are good, but I'm like...
Someone must have seen it and been like, dang.
Yeah,
like,
they
we
must
need
have had
to
advanced screening
Yeah.
after,
lock
like,
this guy down.
director's cut was done. And they're just like, cool, give them the new franchise, because they have the Han Solo one filming now, which comes out next Christmas. Then Episode 9. Then after that, there'll be, I think it's going to be the Obi-Wan standalone or Boba Fett or whatever the fuck they're working on. But at some point,
Much Star Wars.
just move past what you've done before and do something new.
Yeah.
And this will be them being able to do that without having any ties at all to the original trilogy. And if another Death Star shows up in episodes 10, 11, and 12, I'll fucking kill myself. Because I'm so sick of
Yeah,
seeing
no,
floating
thank
orbs
you.
that kill worlds. So, yeah, but that's everything for additional news, except for one extra piece of news that Charlie has in her hand.
Sorry, I tossed this in like super last minute because I couldn't believe it, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like. But it makes me want to pick this game up again. Injustice 2, they've added a new pack that comes out December 12th, and I'm sorry, early access December 12th, regular access and PC access on November 14th. But that makes no sense. Anyways. They're adding the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Injustice?
I just like the fact that I can have Superman fight the heroes in the half shell. Turtle power.
Oh my god. I just,
Turtle power.
I can't even think about how they're gonna look, like, because Injustice is such a gritty looking game, and all the characters look really gritty, and like,
If they had them look similar to how they looked in the Michael Bay movies where they're like 8 feet tall,
yeah.
it could work.
That's
I
what
mean,
it's gonna have to be. Like, they're gonna have to be like super realistic, weird fucking looking turtles.
I want to see their play styles, because it'll be really fun to see how different they are, because one has nunchucks, one has a sword, one has size, and one has a stick and his brain.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the nice thing is that it's... Some people may see it as bad, but it's technically 5 additional characters. That's a lot of characters to add into a game.
Sorry, yeah, it's just early
For fighting.
It's just early access December 12th. Injustice 2 is apparently coming to PC finally on November 14th.
wow,
But
PC Master
yeah,
Race finally gets
super
their game.
super long time. Anyways, but yeah, I just can't. I think they're going to be really fast. Like, I would assume they're really fast, especially the dude with
I
the
see
stick.
them playing really slow for some reason, because they're so big. They'd be like, it's a turtle, for Christ's sake. How are they fast?
What I want to know is, what about Splinter?
Yeah, Splinter has to be in there. Shredder would be really cool to see.
That would be cool.
Shredder's
Shredder
terrifying.
would be a good one.
So.
But yeah, very interesting, and makes me want to keep my Injustice just to see how that is going to play out.
That's why they release stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, cool.
it worked.
Yep. They got you.
So I think that's everything we have for additional news. We're floating right around an hour, so we're going to move right into the main topic. And CJ, go ahead and take that away.
Woo. So this has been a topic that has kind of been on my mind lately. It's the localization of esports or esports organizations or teams, and it's kind of being led by the Overwatch League, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. And if you don't know, I'll kind of go over like a brief description for you. So Blizzard has taken upon themselves to invest millions, maybe billions of dollars into a bunch of different organizations that already existed and basically help them either move to a certain city or a certain state and help accommodate them to make a actual team based on a city. So I'll go through what they currently have, and this is all just going to be Overwatch League Season 1. I would assume it's going to go over amazingly, and considering it's just all played on PCs and houses, I'd have to imagine if it goes over well, adding more to this is going to be pretty easy for them. So we have Boston Uprising, Boston, Massachusetts. Dallas, Texas is the Dallas Fuel. Florida is Florida Mayhem. Houston Outlaws, probably the most famous one to be named just because it's ran by Optic Gaming, which is a huge esports organization. They're located in Houston, Texas, of course. Then there's the London Spitfire. Then, of course, it wouldn't be a sports or esports organization if there wasn't multiple teams from California. So you have the Los Angeles Gladiators and the Los Angeles Valiant. Then you have New York Excelsior, Philadelphia Fusion, San Francisco Shock, Seoul Dynasty, and the Shanghai Dragons.
Seoul Dynasty is going to dominate this league. We all know it's going to happen.
It's going to be crazy. So the thing with me, and I know Overwatch League 1 is going to be primarily played online with some LANs mixed in, whereas I know Season 2 they're planning to have it all done with teams actually traveling to certain locations, so you'll have home games and away games. But the three that get me are in the Pacific Division. You have Dallas, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and then you have Seoul and Shanghai. So that means teams are going to have to be traveling to Korea and China to play their matches.
See, the way I thought they made it sound during the announcement and the details that they were putting into the league was that the first season they're playing out of some esports arena they have built in LA. And it sounded like during the match weekends they were just going to have the teams all fly into LA and compete within the arena and then fly home.
Oh, see, I thought it was all done over line. Okay, so that makes it a little. I guess that makes it a little bit easier. So we'll just have some foreign people traveling to our land to destroy us on our own soil. That's awesome. Because we all know that China's probably going to be number 2, and Korea will definitely be
New
number
York
1.
will probably be number 3, just because they bought, and I say bought like they own them, but they have 2 of the Korean players that are currently on the South Korean national team that just won the Overwatch World Cup.
Just won. So
we'll see what happens with that. But they've already gotten 2 of them, and they're going to try and push for the 3rd, which is the best player in the world right now, which is Flower. Once he turns 18,
which is crazy because then you're going to have to deal with. It's the same thing that happens with League of Legends currently and like the LCS. There were a bunch of Koreans that came over to North America because the pay was better, things like that, and then you have that language barrier between teams, which in these types of games, communication is always key. You don't have to rely on physical skill. You have to completely rely on A, your teammates, and B, being able to communicate what's going on. So language barriers have always played a huge role in esports, and we'll kind of see where that turns out when you start putting Koreans on a team with people from Europe, people from America, all over.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough because Koreans will probably speak relatively decent broken English, and Americans especially won't speak any fucking thing else besides English.
Any Korean, yeah.
So it'll be the impotence will be on the foreign player to learn American.
They can get some of those special headsets that translate for you.
Do they have those for South Korean yet? I know they have them for 4 languages: Italian, Spanish, French, and English.
I don't know.
So
We'll just all learn Italian.
Yeah, definitely something to invest in.
Yeah, there we go. And
Sponsored by Rosetta Stone.
The point of this main topic isn't just about the Overwatch League, but it's esports in general, localizing. League of Legends with the NALCS has been trying to do it for a while now, and I think 2018 is going to be the first time they're actually going to have some teams be localized, and they're kind of pushing towards getting everything. So I think it's a huge step for esports in general, and if it plays off well in this first year, and the viewership's there, and the competition is going to be there, I think there's nothing to go but up at this point for esports. It's kind of finally crossed that threshold that so many people don't want it to because they hate calling it a sport or thinking that it's anywhere near a sport. But I think there's definitely more people that outweigh the negatives when it comes to
when there's a market there and they figured out a way financially that they think is feasible where they can make money, it's just going to grow.
what kind of blows my mind about this is all these teams are owned by people that own other types of teams.
Right.
So they already have relationships with sponsors, and they already have stadiums that these things could be hosted in. It's even like been said that they could take advantage of their off season and host events in their stadiums and take advantage of their TV partnerships and all kinds of crazy shit that they have access
and like
to.
for like local advertising for like live games, like there's LA teams, and I'm pretty sure Magic Johnson's involved in one of the groups that owns one of the LA Esports teams now. And
I think
he
so.
also owns part of the Dodgers. It's like putting an advertisement up in that park, like when they just made it to the World Series,
Yeah.
and it's like there's a ton of people that are there, and if you're watching it like on a local channel, you can advertise for free because it's your own team that's being broadcast that they're paying you to broadcast. So it's something where it's like when you get to cross-pollinate your fandom with something else they might be intrigued by or interested in, and something that's very approachable like Overwatch, it could draw in the casual fan, which is definitely something that's needed.
I think that is the part that just blows my mind is how quickly that could blow up if it becomes popular and they see that opportunity. Then they have so many doors open to them.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and seeing the other leagues starting to do the same thing too. Before it was always like random teams of people from all over the country would just form a team and name it something, but it's like, but things that are region based give people a sense of pride and something that they can like root for that feels like it belongs to them, partly because it's from the same city. So having like 2 in LA, 2 in Texas, and like Philadelphia, Boston. Like I'm upset because there's not one in Chicago, and most likely if there was, it wouldn't be anyone from Chicago. But I want Chicago to be represented, or my second home, which is where I live now, which is Las Vegas.
Well, you got to think. I would honestly put like, so if we think future and go season 2 Overwatch League and they add more, with how Las Vegas already pushes for esports, they have to pick up a team. Like I have to imagine they should have been in talks for picking up a team. I don't know what stopped it.
It's just probably the bids were probably larger from the other cities.
Yeah.
They did say too that the World Championship for the season 1 would not be played in the arena that they're going to be playing the regular season in. That would be played at a different venue, which I'm hoping will be Las Vegas, which would be epic because I will get to go watch it in person.
They just
That'd be
built
awesome.
that massive freaking
The T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, it'll be
because that's where all the Halo stuff's
it'll be super fun to host something like that. I haven't gotten to something in Vegas since like IPL 4, I think it was.
I just think it makes perfect sense for people from that industry because they know exactly what they're doing and they already have access to everything that you would need to get that off the ground.
Right. And with Blizzard behind it, they have all the money in the universe to do whatever they want, and it's really exciting to see, especially for
nothing
Overwatch.
stopping them now.
The only other thing I'm interested in is the fact that I know some of the players have unionized, but the Blizzard people specifically haven't. Blizzard has just set up minimum expectations for how they're treated and compensated and what benefits they get. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out because everything I've seen has said like they really should unionize.
It would make sense to unionize right now and just be like, all the things that they have prepared make sense for us. We want to keep these so that people can't come in and buy a team and say like, even though these are the minimums, like we're going to change that because you can't fucking do anything about it.
Yeah, I just like someone should really be representing the players, and it's not enough for Blizzard to just say like you have to pay them at least this because they're going to dedicate so much time and energy to that. It's not even.
Yeah, and like teams having specific requirements of their players, like this is how often you have to practice. Like having limits in place and stuff like that is fine, but basically anywhere where an owner can get away with trying to force someone they're paying a specific and fixed amount to do more, they will.
Yeah.
Especially if it does get really popular. Like, okay, you're going to make public appearance now for free.
Yeah, you're going to fly all over. You're going to, live with people that are you don't know. Like it's just the demand that's going to be put on them is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. And that you need to have some sort of collective bargaining agreement in a way that you can come to the table and say like, hey, here's the things that have happened in the past X years where we want to negotiate terms for because it's a point of contention amongst the players, and that's where divides become rifts between players and owners, and typically the league usually sides with the owners unless a player is popular or famous enough, which they probably won't have anyone starting out where they can come in and say like, hey, this is
it's gonna take
this
a
is
while.
shit, without the league being like, oh well, we can do whatever we want because it's who we are. You have to have some level of fame where you can get some sort of attention brought to you rather than that's one option that's available to you if you don't have a union, which is very, very hard to do. So, it would make sense to just have a union, especially for the Overwatch League, just to come in and say, like, hey, this is exactly what we want. So, and I think right now it's a good spot to do it because everyone's pretty happy with the conditions because it hasn't gone into effect yet. So,
I'm kind of interested to see how local teams will affect, like, our culture in general, which... I don't know, like, I was watching that player versus player show, and they had a couple of questions that came up where it was like, how would you react if your child, like, all these people are from the industry. They either commentate or they used to play. It's like, how would you react if your child wanted to become a pro gamer, play one of these games competitively? And everyone basically said, I would discourage them. I would tell them how hard it is, how impossible it is to be popular enough, and how, what they're working on at 12 or 14 and what they're really good at might not even be popular in 10 years.
Right.
And, like, try to discourage them because it's not going to work out. And I was just kind of blown away by that. Like, people who have done it are like, I would tell them not to try to do it.
It's funny, too, because, like, I thought it was really inspiring that when we watched the StarCraft 2 World Championship final, the guy who was not doing well, like, during intermission, like, had a peace run where it's like, my parents actually encouraged me, and they told me to take all the time I needed to play StarCraft. He had already won, like, $360,000 in one of the least popular esports for just the year of 2017, and then he wound up winning the World Cup for StarCraft 2 World Finals. And it's like, that is insane. Like, that dude has probably won close to $1 million at this point. And there's just a little bit of encouragement is what he needed from his parents. And I think he was like 19.
Yeah.
So he's already made more since he's, last 2-3 years competing than I have made professionally in my life and probably will make, period. So it's sad, but at the same time, it's like, I would encourage my kid if I thought the talent was there and I saw that he was actually like a viable competitor. If it was something where it's like he was killing himself for mediocre results and he, wasn't going to be that good, at some point you have to step in and be like, hey, bro, like, you're not A level. Like, if you want to keep going, that's fine, but you should probably look for a real job at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to get your guys' opinion because, I'm 100% for esports. I'm super excited to see that it's becoming more of a household thing, especially with, like you guys said, people actually going to have someone to root for because that's their city. Like, everyone always, even if you don't watch football, you typically know what your city's football team is.
Yeah, absolutely. I really am happy with the way things are becoming regionalized. And I hope that the Overwatch League does well in Season 1 and expands. I'd like to see it be 16 teams instead of 12, so 8 per region or division or whatever they're calling it. And I want one to be Las Vegas and one to be Chicago. So that's where I'm at with it.
I'm interested to see how it plays out and how it affects, like, sports as we know them, because as everyone knows, like, people don't watch football as much as they used to. Concussions are a big problem.
Right.
So if the people that, have put all their money into football start working on esports, will it become as popular as mainstream sports? And will it overtake some mainstream sports in popularity? Like, I'm very interested to see how that all plays out and if it can become a common household thing.
I think it definitely has the potential to overtake some of the lesser popular sports.
It'll probably stomp hockey. I can almost guarantee it passes hockey.
Hockey's been gaining steadily, but stuff like Major League Soccer in United States, I can see esports easily and quickly becoming more popular than that, just because soccer's never really taken off in the United States, but gaming has. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Anything
all
else?
right, that's our main topic.
I think we did a good job with that one too. It was quick, like solid 25 minutes of topic. So we should kind of stick to that. And
we can try
and save my voice because I'm dying here.
I know, dude.
But right on. I think that's everything we have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 45 of Nerd Chills Podcast. Congratulations one more time to our winner of the Nerd Chills 2017 BlizzCon giveaway. That would one more time be Brendan Roberts. We'll be sending you out your new backpack with all your badges and all the extra goodies that we're going to give away. So thank you to everyone who used the hashtag Nerd Chills 2017.
Yes, thank you for sharing and caring and commenting and stuff.
All those things. And you know what? Check us out. Listen to us. We're happy to have you guys. And then you can always get a hold of us at nerdchills@nerdchills.net. You can email me specifically at Maylum, MAYLUM, at nerdchills.net. You can tweet at the show at nerd_chills. You can tweet at me at the Adam Diaz. You can also find our Facebook group, facebook.com/nerdchillspodcast. It's a Facebook page, not a group.
You always say
and
that.
I don't want to get yelled at anymore. So I think that's just about everything. You can check us out on Patreon. Kick us a couple bucks if you would like to. We'd really appreciate that. If you take us $3 or more, you get early access to the show, which typically happens as long as we're not recording at midnight on a Sunday when it comes out on a Monday. I think that's just about everything. CJ, if the fine folks wanted to find you on social medias and places like that, where could they find you?
Everything's pretty much at Sacred Infinity. I try to keep it simple. It's Twitch or Twitter, or you can do Sacred Infinity at nerdchills.com or nerdchills.net. Email us there. And on Twitch, I have been streaming a lot more lately, and if you're into Call of Duty or just want to come hang out, I'm going to try to start streaming pretty much every day for 3 to 4 hours as I just grind back into kind of my competitive mode to stomp some faces and win some money.
That'll be really fun to watch, actually. So, cool. Charlie, if the fine folks wanted to find you, where could they do so?
You guys can email me at charlie@nerdchills.net, or you can find me on Twitter. It's Charlie with an EY _ and then NC as in Nerdchills.
Cool. Right on. So thanks again one more time to everyone that listened. And since CJ has returned this week, we're going to have you do the sign out.
Take a chill pill. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Brr.